Hey guys, what's up? It's Ripe again in today's video. A terrible busybody homeowner association neighbor drives around in her golf cart every single day and pretends to be police. She fined me for being up too early and walking my dog, which is supposedly forbidden in the HOA bylaws. Here is what happened. Let's dive right into the story. Before I tell my story, I really just want to ask a question for everybody out there reading this. What is it about HOAs that attract Karens so much? I feel like there's a correlation between the two, and I am curious about people's theories regarding it. As you can guess from that question, my HOA has a Karen and she takes it way too far. She acts like she is police and needs to catch people for the smallest things and write them fines. I don't even think she's going off official rules, and instead she's just writing tickets for anything she deems wrong. It is a pain for everybody as she acts like there's nothing more important and waits to just fine people. To do this, she rides around in a golf cart that she even put a light on the top like it is actual security/police. Then a sticker on the side of it that says HOA police. In the mornings especially, she likes driving around to hand out fines for people not putting their empty trash bins back in their garages quick enough. Trash pickup here is early, like 7 AM early. Almost everybody brings out their bins the night before and then puts them in when we go out in the morning. Karen thinks that anything past like 9 or 10 AM is way too late for the bins to still be out there and starts writing fines for people. She does this with other things. I just think this is the best example to show how unhinged Karen is and that she really believes she is helping with her actions. Personally, I own a dog, and as many pet owners know, time seems to work differently for them. Mainly that they don't understand time always, and especially when they want breakfast. So my dog woke me up at around 6 in the morning, ready for a walk and a bowl of kibble. I cannot remember exactly when the story took place, but since it was still very dark, I'm gonna guess it was the fall or winter. So I am walking my dog and honestly enjoying that quiet time before anybody wakes up. Then I see a flashing light of none other than Karen pulling up next to me. Karen, hold it right there. I have a few questions for you. Me? Huh? Karen, what is your purpose walking around this time of day? Trying to loot houses to break into and rob, huh? Me, I'm walking my dog. I live like a block away from here. Karen, in that case, I'm going to have to give you a fine. For what? I did not do anything wrong. Karen, it is way too early for you to be out walking the dog. What if he barks and disturbs the entire neighborhood? Karen looked like an angry hyena and seemed to be really unhappy about me walking my dog. She claimed that she could get me arrested and jailed if she wanted to. She insisted that she is a person with authority. And you know guys, usually people that claim to have authority usually don't have any authority. Dog walking should not take place before sunrise. Me, you're giving me a fine for something my dog could do? She then ripped off a ticket with my fine and drove away, telling me to go back home. Honestly, I stood in disbelief for a while that this actually happened before then going back home and feeding my dog. I actually fell back asleep for a few hours. When I woke up, I thought it was some crazy dream. Alas, it was real and the fine was just sitting on my kitchen table as I debated what to do about it. I had my doubts that there was any actual rule broken by me walking my dog, and I could try and appeal my fine to get out of paying it. The thing was that if the HOA tried pushing it further, I could end up needing a lawyer, and that would cost me way more than the $15 fine for walking my dog. I decided I was gonna try a different strategy, and the first step was actually to pay my fine. I know it sounds crazy that I paid it, but I wanted to make sure I was off Karen's radar before I got my revenge on her. I started looking into it and I knew that it was not legal for her to drive around in a golf cart claiming that she was any kind of police. So I also made note of where she left the cart in front of her house after she did her morning rounds, and I assume then went inside to sleep. I then called the non-emergency line and told the police that I noticed a golf cart marked as police in my area and wanted to know why there was an officer constantly stationed around there. Of course I knew the truth, but it got their attention and them telling me that it was not a real officer. I told them that I saw the cart driving around during the early morning and handing out tickets to people. Also that it was parked on the street and being driven like a car when it did not have any kind of license plate or anything. They told me that they were gonna send somebody to check it out and thanked me for making them aware of the situation. Now, the second part of my two-part plan was to sit and wait until something interesting happened. It did not take long at all, and I was able to see the entire thing while staying on my property. See, Karen does not live next to me, but she lives on the adjacent block right by the corner of mine. And well, the real police showed up and started taking pictures of the golf cart, and seeing that it said HOA police with HOA being in small print and police being in nice big print, some officers actually stayed outside while others went to her door and started knocking on it. I saw 2 of them go inside, and I don't know what they were talking about, and I was worried nothing was gonna happen in the end. Then I saw a tow truck show up and start loading up her golf cart to be taken away. Trust me when I say anybody else possibly seeing this was just as happy as I to watch it get towed away. Then the police left her house and drove away, leaving me with many questions. I did not get too many solid answers, but I will share what the main story going around is. So Karen was not arrested for anything, but she did get some serious fines for coming off as an officer when she actually wasn't. She never claimed to be a real cop though, so that is why she got off with just a fine and warning for that one. As for the golf cart, since she was using it in a way that was not intended, and as an actual vehicle, it got towed away. She was told that if she wanted to use her golf cart, it would have to be at an actual golf course or driven on her property only. Either way, she never got it back, so I assumed she just surrendered it to being towed. She did not change much and was still a Karen who liked to try and fine people for doing the smallest things that she deemed to be against the rules. Without her golf cart though, the number of fines she was giving out went way down, and everybody was grateful for that. She never did find out that it was me, and I did not tell a bunch of people to keep it that way. I was dying to share the story with somebody though, and this seemed like the perfect place to do it. All I wanted was to walk my dog in peace, and she felt like starting a bunch of trouble because of it. Unluckily for her, that I'm a pretty petty guy, and if you mess with me, I'm probably gonna mess back with you. Also, for anybody wondering, I did eventually look into the rules and of course found nothing about hours where it is not allowed to take your dog out for a walk. And the next one is titled, Was I the jerk to my mother-in-law? Mother-in-law is extremely reserved and never shows any emotion. She rarely even smiles. She was like this as a child, and it left her parents with major insecurities as they felt they couldn't make their own kid happy. However, literally nothing made her happy. Cold is the really best word for it. A few years ago, mother-in-law met Blake and they began dating. He can actually make her happy, and I think her parents are a bit jealous. It's honestly very jarring to see her show any emotion, but hey, good for her. So last year, I invited my husband's whole family over for Christmas. My baby was sleeping upstairs. And my mother-in-law has always hated Christmas because she doesn't want to give certain people gifts, gets mad when she is given gifts, and becomes depressed if she doesn't get any. She claims she feels bullied into buying gifts for people she doesn't like, which is me. Normally, she just glares at her gift and mutters, "Thank you." And well, Blake gave her a gift and she screamed, like a real scream, loud enough to wake up the baby, and then jumped on him. I don't actually know what it was, tickets to something I think, but my baby immediately started crying. I was annoyed and snapped at mother-in-law that she was inconsiderate. Mother-in-law said all I ever care about is my baby and I am ruining Christmas. That pissed me off, so I kicked her out. Mother-in-law's parents got mad and said I should have let it go. They've never seen their daughter happy before, and it was sweet. I got mad and said their daughter does not come before my infant son, and well, tomorrow is Christmas and I've decided mother-in-law cannot come unless she apologizes for waking up the baby and disrespecting me. However, she is refusing and says she didn't mean to scream and I am crazy and overreacting. She is currently not invited and I'm getting a lot of crap from the rest of the family. Honestly, I don't think I am backing down though. She can apologize or spend tomorrow alone. And Ripe Stars, I would love to hear from you. Do you think that OP is the a-hole here for not allowing his mother-in-law to come to Christmas unless she apologizes or not? Let us know in the comments. Anyway, a user on Reddit said you had 360 something days to uninvite her and you decided to do it now for waking up your baby a year ago? Because she was happy for once? You are the a-hole. Comment number 2, you are the a-hole. You clearly don't like her and were looking for a reason to hold something over on her and got your reason and you are using your child as an excuse. Now you are holding onto this very dumb petty reason a full year later and holding everyone's Christmas hostage as a result. That's a very weird hill to die on, let it go dude. And to be honest guys, I would kind of agree here. It might have been an a-hole move, but then again, I feel like we don't really get the full picture in the story. I feel like there's a lot of background info missing for OP to have acted the way he did. So that's why I personally at least would stay neutral on this story. The next one is titled, Karen tries to hit my pregnant mother. Some context, I was 11 when this happened and my mom was about 8-ish months pregnant with my little brother. She was also living with her live-in boyfriend who was a massive waste of DNA and usually took his frustration out on me, but he thought I was at Mima's, my grandma's house, because my mom's dietary changes while being pregnant were causing me health problems. To be honest, I was over helping her with housework and had been playing games for about an hour at the time of the incident. So what happened is, A-hole had gotten home at about 8 or 9 PM and he was already in a bad mood for some reason. My mom was gonna see what was going on and asked him to stop shouting because last time the neighbors came over due to the noise volume and she didn't want to have to explain that one again. Honestly, I did not blame her. She is pregnant, her feet hurt and she was in the hospital for kidney stones like 3 days before this happened, so obviously she is tired and frustrated. Apparently, A-hole decided he felt the need to be mad at her and started shouting obscenities at my mother, which led to me grabbing the baseball bat I kept under my bed and sneaking closer to hear. Well, right as I got within range, I saw his hand fly up and I had seen that gesture before. He was aiming to hit my pregnant mother, so my first reaction was to swing that bat into his leg as hard as I could, and when he went down, I hit him maybe 3 or 4 more times at full force. Mind you, and even though I was a child, I was certainly not weak and knew to aim for his knees and wrist. Apparently, I nailed his left wrist at one point. My mother called Mima and 911, which resulted in a cop car and an ambulance. The cops asked what happened as they loaded the man into the ambulance and he tried to say that I assaulted him unprompted. This was when Mima came to the rescue and interjected that 1. I have never hit someone without being hit first, and number 2. A-hole and my mom were constantly fighting. She then said they could ask the neighbors who verified the statement. When the cops then asked why I hit him so hard it broke at least one knee, for sure I stated he could hit me and I would probably hide since he's bigger than me. But he was gonna hit my mom and she has a baby nearly here. I did not want the baby to get hurt, so I hurt him first and made sure he wouldn't do it again. My mom agreed to press charges for assault, child endangerment, and child abuse. The cops were also informed of how he verbally, mentally, and emotionally abused me, and Mima had at least one voice recording of this happening in the past. Now, I did not go to the court cases because I was a child and everyone agreed to not bring in the children if it was avoidable, which it was since Mima had physical proof of his abuse, but later I found out he was only allowed weekend visitation at my mom's convenience and had to pay child support. A few years afterwards, he got himself arrested for some reason and had his visitation rights revoked by the court. So yeah, don't attack my mom and don't F with my little brother, my family will ruin you. Nothing was more gratifying than knowing this man can no longer see his only child because he thought he could get away with being an abusive dick. And the next one is titled, Getting the Best Revenge Possible. It was an established, respected family art supply store with about a dozen employees that had been in the same location for decades. Employees were extremely knowledgeable, helpful, and valuable because they knew all the local artists. We were not paid enough. Every 2 weeks, we would sometimes work 48-hour weeks. If that happened, they would cut our hours to around 32 hours for week 2. Then the sneaky employers averaged both weeks together, so they never paid us overtime. The most shocking part to me that as far as I knew, no other employees had ever made a stink. We were ordered to never discuss our pay with other employees. That probably shielded their scammy method. After the office manager condescendingly explained averages to me and sent me on my way, I smiled and thanked her for helping me understand. Damn, after that, I anonymously called the US Department of Labor to make inquiries. I ratted out the store by name. When I googled the Department of Labor, I found a law firm advertising to help employees cheated out of overtime pay. Serendipity. Then I told a coworker friend about it and the two of us contacted as many current and former employees as we could track. A few were mad, but most said they had suspected something already, all the while we worked our jobs happily same as always. One day an auditor from the government came and returned 2 days in a row, and on day 2, the store's actual owner, who was always too bougie and fancy to ever darken the door, showed up all puffed up and smiley, but left all sweaty with a frown. Then it was time to meet with the lawyer. The government made them pay accumulated retro overtime with interest to every employee they had ever done this to. They then had to put a notice in the paper, which I know was humiliating for such country club snoots. There was also a big fine involved. However, I don't know exactly because I left to go to grad school. I heard 2 longtime employees hired the lawyer and sued not only the store but the owner and that condescending office manager individually. The bottom line is, if when I brought it to her attention the office manager had said oops and paid me my $192 instead of treating me like a child, they could have saved what I heard turned into $50,000. Cheaters suck, especially rich ones who take advantage of their workers. And yeah, ripe stars, personally, that is one of the things I despise the most in life, which is rich people, or in this case, rich business owners, taking advantage of people that work for them. I think there is nothing more despicable than this. To be honest, if I would own such a business and I knew that people would work for me overtime and I would not pay them for said overtime, I don't even know how these people can sleep at night. But then again, I feel like there are many ruthless business owners, so I am not really surprised by this story. Help! Our cat sitter is refusing to give us our cats back and is making false neglect allegations. New York, USA. I will try to be brief and try not to ramble, but I am feeling really upset right now. My husband and I recently had to travel to Italy for a week at short notice due to a death in his family. We have 2 cats, a 2-year-old female British Shorthair and a 6-year-old male Moggy, and didn't have time to organize a boarding stay, so a coworker referred me to her 22-year-old daughter who pet sits and house sits on occasion. She works with a rescue organization, so we felt comfortable with her pet sitting even though we had only met her a handful of times. She always seemed nice and had, in the past, expressed delight at seeing pictures of our cats, particularly our BSH. And the immediacy of our travel arrangements did not give us a lot of options. While we were away, we heard from her every second day and her updates seemed fine and happy, and she included pictures here and there of the cats and they seemed reasonably content. We left heaps of food and litter and a little instruction list as our BSH has daily eye drops. When we arrived home from the airport, our house was all locked up and she and the cats were nowhere to be found. I called her and she told me that when she arrived in the evening there was no food or water left for the cats and she had taken them because she felt we had clearly neglected them and that she would not be releasing them back into your care. Her words. I told her that was not at all the case and asked why she had not mentioned any of this in our communication. She hung up on me and has not since answered any of my calls or returned any texts. This is completely insane. We fed our cats wet food in the morning and left them with 2 bowls of biscuits and 2 water bowls, and our cats are obviously not neglected. They are both happy and healthy and had an annual vet visit a month beforehand and both were given a clean bill of health and vaccination boosters. Anyone who knows me knows I love my cats and take the best care of them. My coworkers joke that I am a crazy cat lady because I am such an attentive owner. We found out that while we were away, she had been posting on her Facebook and Instagram accounts about saving 2 neglected cats from a bad home. The only evidence she posted of the neglect was a picture of an empty water bowl that was not even ours or taken in our home. There were all sorts of comments telling her what a hero she was, and when one person commented on a picture of our cats that they did not look neglected, she became really aggressive towards the person and said, "It looks worse in person," which it doesn't. I think she's crazy and she just wants our cats or wants to be seen as a hero or something. I called the police station and they didn't want to know about it and told me it is a civil property dispute. It has been 6 days and I am absolutely heartbroken. Her mother, my coworker, is siding with her daughter and has been bad-mouthing me at work and is refusing to talk to me. I have no idea what to do. All of the cats' microchip details are in my name and I have called all the local vet clinics advising them that my cats have been stolen and they will call me if they come in. I have amassed a collection of photographs and the vet's health assessment as evidence that the cats are not at all neglected, but I just don't know what to do. Please help me. Edit, thank you so much everyone for your replies. My husband and I are going to go back to the station tonight after work and try again. If our concerns are dismissed again, we will take it higher. We are also going to look into lawyers tonight. We have printed off all of her Facebook and Instagram posts regarding our cats, and we also have all the communications from when we organized the cat sitting through to the happy, positive messages she sent us while we were away, as some of them were sent to us at the same time as she was posting her neglect stories on Facebook. I really hope to be able to provide you with a happy ending update soon. And a user in the comments said, as well as following the good advice that has been posted here, insisting on police filing a report of theft and contacting a lawyer, you should also contact the organization she volunteers for. Be exceedingly polite yet honest. It was partially due to the fact that she is a representative of their organization, which volunteers are, that you trusted her to sit for your cats. Give the volunteer coordinator a breakdown of the situation and ask for them to help you find a solution. Tell them that you know organization would never advocate per theft and any help they could give you would be great. If they are reputable, they will take this very seriously. I volunteered for my local SPCA and they are serious about reputation. And another person in the comments said, I'm not a lawyer in the US/New York, nor do I do litigation. Number 1, animals are property, therefore the cats are your property. Number 2, the cat sitter was granted access to your place for one purpose, which is to care for the cats. She did not have your permission to remove the cats. Number 3, it is irrelevant whether the cats were neglected. Even if they were, she does not have the standing to remove them. Even if a child was neglected, a passerby cannot remove them. It is irrelevant that she works in a rescue organization. Number 4, go to the police. She misappropriated your property. It is a criminal case notwithstanding that you have a civil cause of action against her. Number 5, if the police refuse to take steps to address the issue, get a lawyer and send her a letter of demand. I am thinking tort of conversion. Number 6, again, it is irrelevant whether or not the animals were neglected. She does not have the right to just take your property, and there should not be any need for you to prove anything to her except that the cats are yours and she took them without your permission. Update to the cat sitter story. Thank you so much to everyone who commented and PM'd on the last thread. You have no idea how much your support meant to me and how much it lifted my spirits. I'm so pleased to be able to update you that Petal and James, the cats, are safely back home with us. We followed everyone's advice and called up the shelter she works at and advised them of the whole situation. We told them about how her credentials as a rescuer/foster carer were originally what made us feel comfortable about using her services, that she had taken the cats and was alleging abuse, that she had failed to take Petal's eye drops. Our concerns are animal hoarding, etc., and we advised them that we would be pursuing her with the police and a private lawyer. I say we, but it was really my amazing husband who made the call while I was stuck at work. That same day I had an awkward moment where both myself and her mother were alone together in our office kitchen, so I decided to just be really forthright with her and said, I think you should know that husband and I have contacted the shelter your daughter works for, and we have also filed theft reports with the police and have taken on a lawyer. We are also notifying animal control about the number of pets she has. It is not too late for her to stop this. We actually hadn't gone to the station or called a lawyer yet, but I thought it might sound more serious. I don't know if it was her mom or the shelter that called her and told her to do the right thing, but my son called me at work just 2 hours later, telling me that the daughter's boyfriend had just dropped Petal and James back home. My son said the boyfriend didn't say much and he didn't seem to know much about the drama. He just left the cats in my son's care and left. I left work immediately and came home to my babies. Oh, and my son, of course. Both were well and safe, and we saw the vet that evening and had some tests done that we are still waiting the results for, but all in all they seem fine. Petal's eyes were fine and the vet said it's possible she had access to the drops through the shelter, so that is a small mercy. We still have not decided if we are going to take it further legally. We have reported her to animal control regarding her pet numbers, but have her Instagram and Facebook have gone into privacy lockdown, so I don't know if she's still keeping the hero/victim narrative going or if there have been any consequences with the shelter. Again, thank you so much to everyone, and I hope you can all rest a little easy, like I can, knowing that James and Petal are where they belong, back home with us. And guys, with this we have reached the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. However, if you cannot get enough of my content, then please feel free to check out my Patreon over at patreon.com/ripeyoutube, or join my YouTube membership program by clicking the join button to get access to even more exclusive videos. Thank you so much for your support, and I will see you again tomorrow.